Back to the Resilient Fitness Revolution. I am here with my one of my clients, my next guest, my second guest. I hope I put this out in the right order so those facts are correct. We have Nicholas joining us today. How are you, Nick?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Ran my first 6K without stopping this morning for the season. Felt great. So very happy to be here today.
Awesome. The reason I wanted you to chat with me is, well, there are many, there are plenty. I've been super impressed by your progress, and we were just talking before we started the recording about how we met once, like 3 years ago, online. It wasn't even in person, and then we've sort of just emailed back and forth since. And you've been super consistent doing the programs that I've been making you, and like even if you just filled them out, like I would know that you're not just filling it out and pretending to work out because like just by looking at you, you look jacked.
Thank
Swole.
you. Yeah, well, you're a big part from that because I have a lot of like one of my superpowers is actually like I really am good at keeping schedules and notes of things. Like I'm like all the toxic Virgo traits, I fully embody. Like, oh, create a schedule. I can just show up and do them. Fantastic. It also helps that like I like working out in the morning
Mm.
at like 6 a.m. And what else am I gonna do? If I wake up at 6 a.m., that's kind of like my little life hack,
Did it
like my
sort of
little hack.
start because you had like like that adult inability to sleep in?
No. So it started very young. I've always been a really early, easy morning person. I'm not someone who sleeps a lot. Like I'll have a 6 to 8 hours nights of sleep, but anything more than 10, I like usually have a very powerful like biological clock. So like and I've always been going to bed early, waking up early. And so waking up early now that like when you're an adult and have a career is like kind of pointless. So like I've when I knew that um like was just way when I started doing more sports and just fitness in general, when I started working out like around 2011, it was like I knew that was going to be the edge because like if you've ever been to a fitness training room at lunch after 4 p.m.,
Yeah.
it's I kind of hate it. It's not fun. People are stressed out. They're schlepping off like the stress of their day.
Fighting for the
Uh,
equipment.
Fighting for the equipment. It's so stressful. I hate it. And it's like bad vibes all around. So and I don't want to go to bed. I don't want to go to the gym at 9 p.m. when it's dark. So instead I did the opposite. I go at 6 a.m. when it's dark. And in the winter it's the brutal, just brutal when I do it in winter. Just like, oh,
Yeah.
walking through the snow.
It's so hard to leave the house.
Nah, I mean, I work from home right now, so actually I have good reasons to want
Oh,
to
that's
let the
true.
leave the house as well. Like, you talk about third places, or even second places right now, and so at least with like my ability to wake up early in the morning, being motivated to go to the gym and like show up, it's like, well, it gets me out of the house because otherwise I'm here to live and here to work. So it ends up being a really nice fit with my lifestyle.
Yeah, it's amazing. I guess it's like it's like an advantage to be a morning person if you want to go to the gym and work out. But okay, I want to talk about so many things. I want to talk about first of all, like what have you noticed? Because I know you're very good at noticing the changes in your body. You tell me when you email me what you've seen a shift in. Like what have been some of the things, not even the most recent, but just over the whole time, like since we first met and since you started training more intensely, what are the things that you've noticed, like aesthetic wise, or how you feel, how you've been performing, just your health in general? What are some things that have changed?
I mean, it's been really good since I've started working with you. Like after lockdown ended, like I knew, for example, I live in the east part of Montreal, so I knew that I was gonna have the Olympic Stadium as a fitness room and also access to the pool. So I lot and plus it's pretty affordable as well. So I saw there was a lot of potential for change and like just having bring back that sense of structure and routine that I had lost in the lockdown. And after the lockdown as well, it's like, well, I finished Ring Fit Adventure on hard mode twice. I completely aced that game. Just And I love that game. It's actually just I'm a video game designer and my as my job. So, playing video games that also affect fitness is was kind of like pretty interesting experience. But one of the things I did notice is just in general, like stamina, energy, sleeping better. Like I often tell a lot of people who probably don't have have had a great relationship with fitness is like the days you work out when you go to bed. It's like you just go to bed immediately. It's kind of fantastic. I do sleep a lot better, and I go to bed like exhausted from my 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 morning routine, my day, my social relationships. Just well,
Yeah,
it
it's
sounds
like
weird. But,
exhausted but
like
fulfilled.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Fulfilled. I had a good day. I did things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's been and yeah, like I gained weight like in a weird way for the first time in my life. Like it's kind of weird to be like, wait, I'm heavier, but I like don't feel heavier if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that would be my answer.
Cool. And I just realized when you told everyone that you're design video games, we just jumped straight into things. You want to tell everyone who you are and I don't know, some
Sure.
demographics about yourself, where you live, how old you are, if you want to share that, if you have any physical or
Sure.
cognitive disabilities,
Yeah.
what sets you apart? Like, why did you reach out to me? Like, what sort of things, in your world, yeah, what's unique about you?
Yeah, I'm 36 years old. I've been a video game designer for close to 15 years. Mostly I've worked on like a variety of mobile virtual reality and now like PC console projects. I'm currently working as a senior designer on a video game called Dead by Daylight, made in Montreal here. It's a horror multiplayer game. It's very popular with queer people. Pretty proud about that. Before that, I spent 3 years working on a Barbie kids game. So like I jumped from Barbie to like multiplayer horror, which was pretty great career transition, I have to say. Kudos to whoever hired the people responsible for hiring me. I would identify as a cis gay man. I I live in the east of Montreal. What else? What else? I have anxiety. um, Yay. And yeah, I think it covers a lot of things. I love comics, animation, art. I'm very like drawn to like storytelling in general. I do love my animes, my mangas. I play a ton of video games as well. So I think it's like nice to have like fitness actually like since I've always had like such a sedentary lifestyle that I've preferred that like it's actually been really important since like my teens to have like physical exercise to balance it out because otherwise yeah like you just overdo of one thing or love like art like very static entertainment or like sedentary work or intellectual work. So for me it was like especially as I grew older like I really got a sense that like I needed to like just equal the scales a little bit. Like if so much of my time is spent up here and in
Mhm.
here, like I have to work on like the rest of it because it's
Yeah,
mind
it
body.
balances out. So, what are some of
Yep.
your other physical hobbies? I know you mentioned running before.
Yeah, I do a lot of biking. I have like a great little folding one
Brompton
fixie.
bike?
Yeah, like I have a
Yeah.
folding bike,
Yeah.
but it's also a fixed gear, so like
Cool.
I really truck. It's useful in the city, I would say. It's not really made for like how much I use it, because like I will go through like all of Montreal over that thing. Like I have to change tires like twice a summer, because I get a lot of mileage out of it. But it's just very useful to live in the city with a folding bike because if you're ever stuck in a weird spot, you can just put that in the trunk of any car. You can put it inside in like other spaces. It's also like weirdly sized, so like I think people don't want to steal it as much. Because it's got like tiny wheels and a weird frame, and yeah. But yeah, I also swim. Right now I can't because the Olympic Stadium burned down,
Oh
and the
boy.
pool is closed. That was 8 morning. It was like, oh, I'm on the way to the gym. The gym
The
burned down?
charcoal pit. Where is the gym? Yeah.
Yeah, the gym burned
um,
down. Oh, yeah, that's the thing that happens. Yeah,
well,
super.
you know that could be a roadblock that sends some people into like a spiral of, oh well, that's that's it for me. I'm just not going to exercise. I don't know. And I just love that you immediately got a membership to a different gym, and
Yeah.
you were like, yeah, let's do this. Here's a
Yeah,
solution.
yeah, yeah. No, I really need like it is a big part of my daily structure. Like I love waking up every 5 days a week and be like, I'm gonna do 30 minutes to an hour. I have a program, I have things I want to do, there are things I want to improve at. And like actually losing that is just a really big blow to like my well-being. Because like for me, like the just feeling really nice that like I did 5 mornings in 1 week, and then the weekend I just go like
Yeah.
just very like I can do my things. I don't need to think about the gym. Like the reward is a weekend free of like full of distractions. That's the best part. I
Yeah,
get to be
exactly.
lazy
Other
and
things. Yeah, life is about having many. You need multiple things to fill up your time.
yeah.
And I think, yeah, I actually admire that about you a lot. I was like, man, this guy's got his shit together.
I guess I also like going. I've also taken like I love dancing. I've taken dance
Mm.
lessons before, and I do go clubbing on occasion, and that can last for like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours, and they're doing like left, right, front,
Yeah.
back. Like the little four step that
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
do in clubbing. It's like that adds up to a lot of steps.
It
Kind
does.
of.
Yeah.
It is physically hard for the knees. I have found
It is.
as like getting older.
Oh,
Because
it's
like yeah,
awesome.
I'm 206 pounds, and so you just like step in place for like 8 hours. You're just like, oh man, it's
Yeah.
actually hard.
It is. And
Need
if you
good
do a little
shoes.
like half squat or you bend your hip in a weird way, then you're really
Yeah.
working some muscles you didn't even know existed.
Yep.
And so, like, paint a picture of your lifestyle around the time that you contacted me, or just before you contacted me.
Yeah.
Like, what sort of activity were you doing? Where was your head at? Yeah.
I always so I if I'm gonna actually just start a little bit way back. Like basically, I sort of started. I'm not gonna go with like my full life story, but like let's just say that when I left the parental home. Like I knew that for the first time, like I had a lot of time and space and income to like finally kind of get a gym membership, get a routine going. So I really like sort of started weaving exercise into like 3 or 4 days a week into like my life because there was a gym in the building. I started working out. I started working when I started off my career around 2010, and so I knew that was going to be easy. Like it's often a question of setting up convenience for yourself and making sure that roadblocks are like eliminated so that you don't have to make like really tenuous choices based on like willpower, because like I
Hmm.
know that like setting up you kind of have to like premeditate and set yourself up for success.
That's
So
great.
for example, I knew that I was like going to be an early morning person, and if I showed also I worked in an office, so if I showed up like really early, I had like a good like 2 3 hours to like get a lot of work done and then get interrupted. So like, but I also had the gym, and also like working out in the morning. Also like for maybe people don't know, but like you feel relaxed
Yeah, it
because
calms your
like just you're
anxiety.
so yeah you have like so much oxygen, and you've like all the big science words that make you feel good.
Hormones.
Yeah, hormones.
Endorphins.
They're all endorphins. They're all like bubbling about, and like also first morning coffee after and working out. It's always the best. It's kind of always like a highlight of my day. It's like, oh, finally, it's been like 3 hours I've been awake and I deserve a coffee.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so that was pretty good. Like I moved around the city, sort of always had a gym within like 20 30 minutes of where I lived. Kept that up pretty good. And then lockdown happened for
Hmm.
COVID. And I was like, okay, like I need sort of more support. And lockdown restrictions were being lifted, so I knew that like I wanted to work really hard, kind of because like how I think that we all like felt having a little loss of like because we were so like isolated, we
Mm.
all felt a little bit distance with ourselves or too much close to ourselves. So I knew that like when I was going to go back to the gym after lockdown, I needed a lot of support. And previously, I used to go to like energy cardios, and usually you can like buy a package, and there's a trainer there, and they
Yeah.
give you a program, and it's pretty one-stop shop,
Yeah.
right? But here is like, well, I was looking for someone that had a little bit more of a personal touch, and it was my friend Brittany that recommended you
Mhm.
because I was looking for someone that I could actually talk to about like my concerns as a queer person regarding bodies and fitness and I contacted a couple of people and everybody was extremely rushy, get results quick, like
Okay.
CrossFit in the very yelly voice. And then you were just like, hey, what's up? Yeah, that's cool. You want to schedule a talk so we can talk about it? It was like really respected my time and
Yeah.
asked me like also it was super weird. All of the people I contacted like around like 2021, they were like, "Yeah, pick a time slot out of my schedule." And I always find
Right.
that like just a little bit rude.
Okay. Yeah.
Like oh, I'm like no, like in the it's the first
Yeah.
contact with a client and then like I feel like I'm already like subordinate in
Uh,
like it's a mindset thing, but you just had a really great first approach.
huh.
And
I like
also
that.
like I and also during the lockdown, like I was saying, I actually flipped because I wasn't really going to the gym. I instead worked a lot with a nutritionist during that time. I had like monthly calls with her. And we were talking about like dieting and food, and she really like referred me to like a lot of great literature about like diet culture and like first of all wild stuff like just the origin of like I did not expect the Catholic religion to start like yeah like it was like oh yeah like the people who like don't eat and like whip themselves like yeah
Uh-huh.
it starts from like those guys
Wow.
yeah yeah it's why it's kind of wild there's like oh
I feel like they
there's
must have gone over that in that an episode of that podcast called the maintenance phase. Have you heard of that
yeah
podcast?
no I haven't
It's very good. I recommend it. I feel like that would be something they would have spoken about. But anyway, I digress. Keep
yeah.
going.
So
Nutritionist.
yeah, and I knew that like, you know, I was getting lockdown was ending, so I was like, let's go for it. We're gonna like really go hard at it. Let's actually like for the first time, like not just do maintenance or like weight loss, air quotes, but like let's go and like get some like let's get big, let's see how much power I can get. Like let's kind of dive in and I couldn't just do that because like we all heard the horror stories of like the people who kind of go that way and start off and like just get hurt
Mhm.
or kind of fall into like misinformation spirals of like what to do, how to achieve it. And I always knew as well that like with fitness, it's the long game. There's just
Yeah.
like no shortcuts. It's just it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
And
And then you got
so
to
you
maintain
enjoy
it after you do it. You can't just stop. It's something you have to.
yeah, that's it. So yeah, I think like that's why like I ended up like contacting you because I really wanted to have like a queer person that could listen to my concerns and also give me great advice.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. I especially I don't think anyone's ever pointed out the thing about the time slot thing, but I do yeah, I do tend to message people and say, "Hey, what days are you free or what times generally are you available?" And then I'll fit you into my schedule because you are, I don't know. That's cool. I like that you pointed that out. And I guess like have you always been a sporty person? Like were you a kid that got picked not last in school?
So here's the thing is I mean, since we're going into it, I was a shy chubby kid. Got extremely self-conscious really early on because of the society we live in. That was like, oh, I'm different. Why am I different? Why do I feel different? And it's like, and then kids are cruel, so they point out your differences, and often the differences were that I was bigger bodied. So like that really like the you know it's very well documented what kind of like that impact on your life that has so I didn't really have a great relationship with my body, I would say, but I did love moving. I was a very active kid, very loud, very boisterous. And I did always enjoyed moving. So my parents signed me up to like team sports when like soccer and like hockey, which I really did enjoy, but and now in retrospect, I always kind of found hard because it was living up to the expectations of like my teammates and stuff like that, which was like really hard for me to like find a lot of joy in. So I also did fencing, which I really loved. Just fencing, you like, it's first of all great for leg flexibility. My God, you're just doing dips like all the time to like reach your opponent, and you just feel really smart because you're like, and you get like, it's really good cardio. Like you get sweaty under that mask. And also it's just cool. You're fighting with swords, like, and that's the
I
sport,
always
you
thought
know?
it was
So,
pretty awesome. Yeah, apparently it's one of the easiest sports in Canada to be an Olympian at because not many people in Canada do it.
oh,
So you can still go for it. Shoot your shot.
yeah, 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 yeah. Like that snowboarder who just like from Norway, she's like, I'm the only one.
Really? There's only
But
one in Norway?
no, sorry, not Norway, but there was like a few
Jamaica.
years ago. No, it was a few years ago at the Olympics. Someone like it's just somebody from a country that doesn't have a lot of snow wanted to go to the Olympics, so she picked like the option that would just like basically there was no one else,
Be a sure
and she
thing.
yeah, it was kind of wild, and it's like a whole thing. I forget the name,
I
but
need to
it
look
was
this up because
it
I
was kind
also
of
want to go to the
surreal because she
Olympics.
was just like bad, but
Oh.
and like you were just seeing her go down the half pipe and just go up and down. She slalomed her way down to the Olympic.
Did
It's
they
kind
like
of,
change the rules now for how to get in to meet like a
I
minimum
think
standard
her country revised after
after she
her.
embarrassed them?
It's not an embarrass. It's just like it's like you want to go to the Olympics, but you didn't want to do the work. You
I
just
mean,
wanted to go.
same.
You didn't want to come. Yeah, but like if I wanted to go to the Olympics, I would try to give it a shot and like end up with a bronze or like top five.
I mean, I don't
Not
know.
just go for a trip. It's like you're kind of like disrespecting the institution of the thing a bit.
It's sort of a funny joke, but also like, yeah, how to hurt. I don't know.
Yeah. But later on, so I did do a lot of sports. And I really enjoyed moving, and I love like, dancing and doing like a lot of activities and stuff like that. So, and I did enjoy like biking a lot growing up. But I kind of started doing like workouts proper at home, like around the end of high school, I would say, when I would be 15. Like I started lifting weights and doing a lot more cardio, and I just generally started knowing that like it was good for my mood. I wasn't really thinking about mental health at that stage. It was like, oh, I'm feeling better, and as general, and like just by doing like half an hour. Oh, also Dance Revolution. I did a lot of Dance
Yeah.
Revolution because I was a video game nerd. So
Yeah.
of course, like it was the like if you remember like the mid aughts, like
Yeah.
2010, 2010, like around 2005 ish, around PS2, Xbox era. Like I think that's when like home Dance Revolution as a craze kind of picked up.
At that
Um,
time I was playing iToy,
Yes, that was really big
washing
as
the
well. Like
windows.
iToy, yeah, iToy, Connect, like just like Dance Central and Connect was
Mm.
really fun. And like those games, I feel like there was definitely like when those kind of like iToy, the Wii,
Mhm.
the Connect on the Xbox, like there was a lot of fitness games. There still are like a lot of great ones. It's just it's a like kind of very niche market, but there's some really good stuff out
Yeah, I
there.
still have clients that have them. I had some teenage clients that requested that we just play Wii the whole time. And
Yeah.
I said, well, I guess you're moving, so sure. And then they couldn't
Baby
get one of
steps.
the discs working, and I was like, oh, okay, damn, that would have been funny to watch, but that's cool. So you loved moving, and I guess you were always active in various different ways. Did you remember when? I guess like I don't know what is one of the things that I like one of the notes that we've swapped in your program or one of the tips that I've given you in one of the videos for your exercises that you're like, oh, holy moly, I've been doing this wrong for a while, or I never knew how to do this properly. Can you think of anything like that?
In terms of movements, no, because you always sort of like break it down really well, and like I also noticed that like if the move is doing one way, but like I'm like forced, like I'm feeling soreness from the wrong area, lower back, hey, um, it's usually like a really bad sign. So like also it's really nice because you're always like really easy to reach and like and turn around for little messages really fast. So like I always know that I have like a lot of quick support if like that isn't really like one way is not working, we can swap it out. So yeah.
But is there like has have any of the exercises that I prescribed you have you like are we familiar with the most of them? Like did you learn some new
I
things?
was, yeah, I was. It was just like the often like the way it was structured.
Hmm.
Um,
That was a new thing.
because yeah, and also when I was, for example, going energy cardio when I was like at a different spot in my life, like the trainer would show you would do the program and then would show it to you once, and then it kind of wouldn't stick around too much because they had other things to
Uh-huh.
do. And like, and to be fair, like you send me like the little clip videos, and they're like so helpful because
Hmm.
like whenever I watch them like almost every time I start an exercise,
Hmm.
like for a while before I'm like fully like weeks. It takes
Yeah.
weeks until I'll stop looking at them because I'm like, I really want to like make sure I I can refer to the pose of the video. I check out little subtleties like what are the
Hmm.
shoulders doing? What are the hands doing? Am I in the right position? Am I like actually working out like the thing that I'm supposed to do? So like actually I would probably say that like the way we work with like the format of like the video clips that I can refer to over and over and over
Hmm.
and over and over again, that's actually been like sort of best boom to my form, and that's allowed me to actually start climbing weights and reps
Mm. Because you're more
much fast
confident.
yeah, much faster and confident. So like there's some moves like what was it like I deadlifted 180 like a few weeks ago. Like I did the
Nice.
full yeah, I did like the full like 8 reps, 2 minute
Wow.
breaks 4 times. And I
Wow.
was like, I had to do like the alternate grip, like the one
Yeah.
that you do
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
because I could like they just it's so hard on
Yeah.
the
It was
like for the
slipping.
regular hands. But I was like, yeah, it kind of counts.
Yeah, it still counts.
So it
100%.
still counts, yeah. And
100%.
I was like, holy shit, like that was really hard, but I really did all of those.
I would love to
And
see what your one rep max is on a deadlift now. That if you're doing
oh
180 for a
yeah,
rep,
a 1 rep.
yeah.
Oof. Yeah, I've never sort of. That's like, yeah. I've never thought about like going sort of that hard
You
about
should
it.
come to one of my classes on the weekend and we can play. We can figure it out.
I do love games.
Yeah, we
I've
can.
kind of dedicated my whole life to the pursuit of games. It's weird.
Well, I should make a little queer games, like the
Oh,
queer
there's a ton of
fitness
us.
games. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, that must exist. I can't believe I know so many queer game
Well, there is a
developers.
well, there's the gay games, which is like the gay Olympics. That's a real thing.
Yes, yes.
Um, but I should make a little local Montreal gay games. I feel like there's enough competitive queers that want to puff their chest.
Competitive, yeah, yeah.
um, and so yeah, I really like what you were saying before. At what you're looking for when you're watching the videos because I think a lot of people are hesitant to do like video training with me or to buy a program because they think they're not going to get enough help or they're not going to know what to do. But I love that you were saying, you know, you watch it and repeatedly, which A, great, amazing, so you don't forget. But B, you're like looking at the posture. What are their shoulders doing? How are they breathing? What do their joints look like? Are their knees soft, locked? Are they bending all of their joints or just one of their joints? Like it's
Yeah.
those little things that you need to look at.
And
And I
also
do
comparing. Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, and I do like to share videos as well that have. I mean, it's different. I give different videos to different people. Like you're familiar with most of the exercises, so I give you those really short ones because I know that you have a big program and it's going to take forever if you watch a long video. But for my beginners, I'll like give someone a video that's maybe like more like 3 minutes long, where the person shows the exercise and then they break it down afterwards. So they're giving you a full explanation, whether it's someone else or I'm talking in the video of how to do the thing. So you're never like totally lost. Like if you ask me, you know, if you're unsure at one of those little clips, then yeah, I'll return your message and be like, okay, it's actually like this, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, yeah, what were you
Oh,
gonna
I
say?
forgot. I forgot. I forgot.
I lost it. It'll come back.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I guess you went from using the Olympic Stadium gym to like an Econo Fitness, which has less equipment. Um, and are you missing your functional training area at the?
Yeah, a little bit. It's really nice to because the like the difference between the Olympic Stadium, which has really I really enjoy their facilities because they really have like the whole thing. And there's a couple of things that I really miss. First of all, free exercise bands for everyone, balls, rollers, those
Mm,
half ball things. I don't know the
Bosu balls, yeah.
Yeah, they have just a lot of little great facilities for different kinds of exercises. They've got a huge like fake grass area. There's a lot of open space for like so you kind of make they and so it's a lot of it can be a lot for a lot of different people. But also like it has like weights that it has dumbbell. They have dumbbells that increase in 2.5 pounds progression,
Uh-huh.
and that's really nice.
Yeah, that's very
Like
necessary when you get stuck, when you're hitting a plateau, you just want to go a little bit more.
because the jump between like 30 and 35 is pretty
Feel like a
big.
lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you don't like that's it, and you're like it really helps you like it really helped me like grade better.
I can't remember if I've
Um,
told you this yet in one of my sticky note comments, but it's helpful for anyone else listening or watching about going to like an Econo Fitness or a gym that has dumbbells that go up in really big increments. But usually, what I've found is that the dumbbells will go up in different increments than the kettlebells. So, say you're going from the 30 to the 35 dumbbells, but there's always going to be usually a 32 kettlebell or something like that in the middle. So always go to the kettlebell rack and double check because that might be your answer to your prayers.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, that's it. But at the same time, like as we've talked about it, like I haven't done like machine spot work for like ever. Actually, I
mm,
was like when I started out like going to the gym back in 2011, I was like, no, free weights only.
yeah,
But also, that's very blasé attitude because you're like, well, sometimes you just want to sit down and push some things,
yeah,
and you don't want to put your whole body into it.
yeah,
So it kind of is like, I just want to push a heavy thing
yeah.
and listen to some Carly Rae Jepsen. I was like, yay,
Exactly.
all right, let's
Yeah,
go. It doesn't have to be like a whole, how to say this? It is less stress to
yeah,
use a machine, and
yeah.
Econo does allow that. Oh, I did try a Stairmaster for the first time this week. That was
Was
that
it?
was weird.
How long did you last before you gave up?
I didn't go super hard at it because like my toes kept getting stuck in the like.
Okay,
I did 10 minutes, but like the thing is
okay.
like my toes kept getting stuck
In
in
the
the
right.
thing when they folded
Oh,
back.
that's
Anyway,
dangerous.
yeah, just a tiny bit. Maybe
Okay,
I went too fast, but it was fine. Um,
that's
it was
cool.
fine. Like it was like, oh, that's what that like.
Did you feel it more
Okay.
on your butt or like in your quads?
I don't really remember feeling any impact. Maybe I didn't
Okay.
go hard enough
Uh,
because like,
I
or
don't think
maybe
I've
I'm
used
just
one
too.
probably
I'm just
once in
that
my
good.
life.
I'm
Yeah,
just that good.
I
It's
don't
your
know.
fault.
But yeah, interesting that you say that about the machines. Like, I always tell people machines are what bodybuilders use, but it's also what my beginners use. So it's the most safe way you can work out because, like you said, it's isolating just one thing. So you're not going to mess
Yeah.
it up. You're just like, you want to do biceps, boom, do biceps. You're not going to throw your back out. You want to do
Yeah.
your row, you want to row without holding your body weight up, just row on the machine. But everything has its purpose, and that's why we still have all of those different things in the gym. That's why we don't just have a gym with only machines or only dumbbells. I'm sure they exist,
Yep.
but it's not common. Like there is a purpose for the machines, there's a purpose for the cables, there's a purpose for the barbells and the dumbbells and the kettlebells, and it's good to mix it up because you want to be good at all of those things. And if you have an injury, the machines are great to isolate. Like if you broke your ankle, you just want to work your upper body, sit down and do it.
Yep.
You're still working.
Yeah, that's it. It's nice to actually just like not have to worry about like posture or like engaging something that's like not to be engaging, and so it's that kind of been nice to like be able to like say like, oh, today I'll just like splash like, oh, that's actually, sorry, I said splash, but you probably don't know what I mean, right? Because I just use, again, this is how big a nerd I am. I just use a Magic the Gathering
Oh, I don't
reference.
know that, so thank you for
Yeah, so I
something
was
as
like,
well.
I just caught myself because in Magic, like when you build a deck, you'll like want a little bit of color of the different
Uh-huh.
colors of the game. So we call it splashing. You're just like adding a little bit of just
Okay, just a
Like
touch.
Bob Ross, just splash,
Okay,
splash
Bob
color.
Ross. I get that reference. I know the Bob Ross.
Yeah, there you go. No, so this, but sometimes to actually get back to it, like some days it is just kind of nice to be like, I just want to do like this thing to see how it feels, and it's kind of nice to just be able to say like, oh, I'll add like a 5 minute to my day, try this machine, see how it feels. What does it do? Like just as out of a curiosity. So yeah, it's been
Yeah,
nice.
that's a great thing. I tell people all the time, like, everyone is in their own little world at the gym, and I look like a newbie all the time because if I go to a different gym that I've never been to before and they have a new machine that I've never used, or it's a machine that, I know what it does, but it's like a different type, or it's newer
Yeah.
or older, it's like a relic. I'm like, oh, I want to, I'm always like getting close and investigating and reading the instructions. I can't read a book, but I can read some instructions, I tell you now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The only books I
It,
keep are user manuals.
it's so funny that you talk about going to the gym and looking like a newbie because I still remember like my first year. I was like, oh man, I have to keep up appearances, and I had a friend who like very very nicely take me on the back. Is like, Nick, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah,
And I was like, that was such the like just the most like nobody cares.
yeah.
Like, and if
No.
they care, that's a really weird
That's on
thing that
them,
they.
yeah. And
That's
if
on
they
them.
secretly record you, that's rude. But they're
Oh
not.
my God. So it's actually super weird. This was a very gay moment that happened 2 weeks ago. But I go out, so I know a couple of guys, and he was there at the gym this morning. I just basically know him by name. We've hung out, talked a little bit, but he was the kind that was filming his reps. And I was in the background, so I was like, fuck, I got taken in a gym selfie
You got
against my
caught.
will. And I was like, oh, that's weird. It's weird that that's a thing that's happened.
Do you
I'm
follow
currently
his social media? Do you know if it's for
I,
his
I
own
was friends
use?
with him on Facebook, which is where I saw it. It was like, wait a minute, there's a
Oh,
dark pattern blob in the
okay.
background of this video, and that's me. And then other friends of mine that also are friends with him were like, is that you? And I
Yeah,
was
but
like, that's
you at least look jacked in the video, so
I was told yes,
yeah.
so I
Well,
was
there you
like,
go.
okay, it's fine. But I next if it happens again, I'm just gonna like give him like, hey, by the way, pay attention. Like,
Yeah, to where you're.
not everyone wants to be filmed. Like, that's not really my vibe.
I mean,
So
that's a good PSA just to put right now. Like, if you're going to film yourself in a public space, at least have the decency to like back yourself in a corner so it's like a blank wall behind you, you know?
yeah, no, it was like the big like thing like structure where
Yeah,
there's
with the
like
two cables.
the two pulleys and you can
Yeah, that's
do
like the
this and
middle
you
of
can
the
do
gym.
this and like there's the overhang like
Yeah.
grips like that, like it's like a giant
Like
like
everyone looks
jungle
really
gym.
sexy on that machine, but it's in the middle of the room.
Yeah, and I was in the back just doing like
Yeah.
just like pulls like that, and I was like,
Oh well.
ugh.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't do the grunts. I tried to. Some people love like apparently they go all out on the grunting, but I'm like, no,
I
you
mean,
should know I
yeah.
exist. You
I
should
had a
know I exist.
conversation with someone the other day at one of the gyms that I work at. Like, some gyms literally have a sign that's like, don't make any sound. If you're grunting, it's too heavy, put the weight down. But like, there's different ways of breathing. And I have a client who he can't breathe like, everything is a, and,
Yeah.
like, if that's how you breathe, oh
Oh
well.
no, it's a difference between like I'm making noise and I'm aware to I'm
Oh,
making noise so I want you to be aware.
right, yes.
Sometimes
There is
I will say
peacocking. Yes, there's a difference. Hmm.
that's the perfect way to say it.
Yeah,
Yes, there's
yeah. If
peacocking
it's just noise
sometimes.
for you to stay alive so you don't pass out, great. If you're literally like, look at me and my feathers, then
And I mean, if you need that little scream to like reach the 1-2 before failure,
yeah,
be my guest. Like that's
yeah,
legit.
yeah. But not every single one.
No, exactly. Like at that point, I'm just worried for you.
Yeah, exactly. You're probably wasting half of your energy on the noises and not the actual exercise. What have been some of your biggest gains or achievements since like starting with my programs? Like beforehand, so you said you had like a program from the trainer at like the energy cardio, and like when you were training at the beginning before that, like where did you get your exercises from? I asked two questions.
So yeah, when I started really early on in like around 2011, I was around like 180 and I was very concerned with like my body mass and all of
Mhm.
that. I will say, and now in hindsight, definitely wish I had access to some different info and like to shift my outlook about
Right.
like body weight and stuff like that.
And
But
now you said you're 206.
206, yeah.
Okay,
I was
cool.
180, but like definitely like now it's like it's not the same type of
Right.
weight. But like it's definitely like it started out initially as like I want to lose weight
Hmm.
is the very much standard
Yeah.
Western like
Intro to
you
fitness.
exercise, yeah, that's
Yeah.
it, right? And it was like I I'm not sure what's the I feel fat. I'm not sure how
Yeah.
that's like, that whole thing and that mentality is like I'm gonna work out. And
Mm.
it to my credit and my trainer's credit, we did do like a lot of work to like get me up to a point where like it started out as like I want to lose weight and my trainer happily obliged, but then my trainer, who was very cool, started like noticing that I was Ken could not do a bunch of things. And so we really started over time, and I stuck around with him for about a year. Really
Mm.
started breaking down actually like what I needed to be doing so it could get me to the level where like I could be. And I thought that was really good. Like I remember trying to do like a biceps and a core exercise. I was like, I can't do it. And he'd like tried to get, and then we did some triceps. He was like, oh, you have no tricep strength. So like the full chain of
Mm.
like I'm not sure like what's the actual word like physiologically, but like you can't really extend that strength like balance wise because
Mm.
like just so you've never worked out like any other sort of parts of your body.
Mm.
So he really built me up, and also like I did so much cardio. Like my love of running started really from like just achieving like really like great results with like interval training, like the types where you just like run like a crazy person for two
Yeah.
minutes and then
Yeah.
walk for a minute.
Yeah.
Like I did that for 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
So the idea of just running long kind of became much more feasible
Appetizing.
after. Yeah, kind of. It's a
Yeah.
different kind of like
Yeah.
so the blame. Like running's hard for different reasons. That
Yeah.
like it's an aspect of fitness that's like so like do or die for some
Yeah.
people, but like the idea is like, oh, do you want to do a lot of it or like a lot of it?
Yeah.
But like
But
it's like you
the
gotta pick your
rhythm is
poison.
not mesmerizing, like meditative once you get the
Yep.
flow, you
I
know.
often run without and back then I didn't really have like earphones or anything, so
Mm.
it was just like me in my head. Often me actually like nowadays actually listening to like podcasts and audio is actually like has been like kind of really weird because for a decade I did it clean with
Silence.
no well gym and
Gym
stuff, but
noise,
yeah.
yeah.
So it did start with like but over time it did become like, oh, so I lost the weight. That was fantastic. I was very proud because as some people, well, actually, I was very proud and I was very lucky. Because maybe not everyone knows that, but like losing weight is not a thing that's like realistic for like every person. It's just because of biology and our individual bodies and our
Yeah, your
shape.
genetics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
genetics. Like it's just some people have a easier time or a harder time. So I was like, oh, that's, and so I had achieved that. So I really got stuck with myself saying like, what's next? And then I went like, I want to run a half marathon because I was just saying how much I loved running, and I did that. I actually did five. I did four of them. I signed up 7 times, but only did four.
I mean,
The
that's a
other
good ratio.
no, and the reasons I didn't do all the ones I signed up for, it's because usually the Montreal Marathon weekend is in early September, which is when second pollination, like early end of summer, early fall pollination
Yeah, yeah.
starts. And usually I was like, allergies,
Yeah,
fuck my
not
life.
happening. Okay, that's a
Yeah,
good.
it happened several times. Like
That makes
every
sense.
year, I'd be like, "Is this the year where I just lay on my back, wanting to like, just not functioning?" And it's happened several times. So, but I did end up running the Montreal Half Marathon several times. I'm very happy. My record was 1 year, probably one. It was an hour 49 minutes, which is insane. Any like a marathon, like a half marathon in 2 hours is just
Yeah,
like
that's
I was
crazy.
yeah, it
You're
was
very
kind of
impressive.
crazy. Yeah, I'm not back to back then because I did actually run like 3 or 4 times a week,
Mm.
and I did like circuits that included like 18 kilometers and stuff like that. Like I was
Yeah, but now
really
you're
into
so
it.
much more swole.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, but that's the thing is like I did that. I did run the half, and then it was like, what's next?
Yeah,
And then it
okay.
was like, because it was always like the one next thing.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
I did that.
addictive.
Well, yeah, that's it. You want to like, and of course, like like professional deformation, but like I kind of know how to motivate people. It's kind of
Mm.
like my job to like get them to do things for
Hmm.
their enjoyment or in spite of their enjoyment,
Hmm.
depending on like what kind of game it is. And so it's like I kind of know how to make schedule rewards and like, but also, you know, we were talking earlier about team sports when I was little. I kind of things really clicked in for me when it came down to like fitness as a personal endeavor.
Hmm.
You know, the sky is infinite. Like just there is no limit.
Yeah.
It does not exist.
Yeah.
Hey, and sorry, I'm really. I was like, oh,
Millennial reference.
I put yeah, I put a Mean Girls reference in there, for the people at home, and but it was always like, what's next, what's next, what next, and kind of when I came to you, it was like, oh, what about trying to get jacked? Like
Hmm.
that was the thing. Like I've always lifted weights, but I never was like, oh, like weightlifting,
Hmm.
gaining mass, like what is that journey like? And of course, like I didn't think I could do it on my own, so I ended up like calling you over the, you know, and people told me as well that like that you like just were able to like help people with a lot of different needs. So I think it was
Yeah,
great that you were around for that.
yeah, that's awesome. And I think that's really cool that you've stuck with it for so long and that you do understand it's a long game. Like if you look at, famous jacked people in history,
Yeah.
and you look at people's like long-term results, and a lot of people start, working out in their late teens or early 20s or whatever, like the difference that, from 20 to 25, you're like, wow, they look amazing. Then the next 5 years, 25 to 30, if people are training consistently for a decade, like you still get really good gains. Like it doesn't end. If you stay consistent, like it slows down for sure, you plateau, but I'm really excited to see what you look like when we meet again in 3 years.
I'm gonna be honest, like just the transformation since we started working
Mm,
together has just been good. But you know, it's a combination of like living alone,
mm,
controlling my diet. It's just like I just a lot of gratitude to be able to do this because I'm just financially independent.
mm,
You know, I have a career. I've got a really, you know, just very grateful because you know, I'm privileged to be able to be in this situation and do these
mm,
things because I think I understand now better as well that like just like um especially like, you know, as someone who like hangs out and socializes with other gay men, that like this perception of like bigger bodies and this obsession and this fascination with them is often as well like just not quote unquote normal. It comes with a lot of like sacrifices and like barriers to entry, especially in
mm,
terms of finance.
mm.
It's just like, hey, protein powder costs a lot of money, supplements cost like
Yeah,
creatine costs
gym
money,
memberships.
gym memberships cost money, trainers cost
Mm,
money, like to do it on your own and like just like probably I could have learned to do this all on my own, but I would have hated every minute of it.
mm,
And like I probably would have been bored or I would have had to like it would have been such a struggle. So like having your help and your assistance just really helps me like achieve this and be able to like realize that dream. But I also like am much more understanding now that like it takes a long time, takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of money.
mm,
Not to say that like, you know, especially if you want to get like become bigger bodied and just have like a stronger like like power build,
mm.
like that's not very easy to do. So
Exactly, and I really love that's really cool how self-aware you are of that privilege that you have to do all those things because it is, yeah, it's, I hate those fitness influencers that are like, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Like, we don't actually. Some people have one job, some people have
an immigrant
four.
an immigrant mother of one will not get jacked.
Yeah, no, it's,
Like so, like just sorry, like so it's just oh, who's like a sole caretaker. Just that it doesn't quite add up. Like
mhm,
parents or stuff like that, it's really hard to do. Someone that's much younger or studying, like it's really again, it's not super realistic to have those expectations and put those expectations on yourself. So like for me, it really is about like having a lot of structure and like the energy, but also some days I just stay at home because I'm not feeling it, and that's perfectly fine. Like I have to like respect it. Like if I'm not feeling it and I'm not in the joy of it, then like,
yeah.
you know, like stay at home and go do something else. Like I'll take walks or like go run or try to figure out if I can do a bike ride
Mhm.
that's a little bit bigger in the weekend. Like just it's
Yeah,
about living my life,
because
not
you need,
you live to like it's about exercise feeding your life. It's not about
Mhm.
living to exercise.
Yeah, I think that's really cool that you've sort of seemed to have nailed that formula, and you're lucky now. And who knows what your life is going to look like in the next year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, or whatever. But it's really important that you're using this sort of secret sauce formula that you found now to put on as much muscle as you can, because after you turn 30, the amount of effort that you need to put in to produce the same 1 pound of muscle increase just exponentially rises, right?
But
Um,
you know,
so it's, the more muscle you put on now, the better, because it's just going to get harder and harder, and it's not going to become impossible, but it's just, you're going to have to put in extra effort with the nutrition and the
no,
training.
no, 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 no. I'm gonna be that Jack grandma that's
Yeah.
on TikTok. Like
Well,
she's
yeah,
awesome.
you can be
Oh
Jack.
my God, she's so cool.
There are many, yeah.
She does things I can't, and she's like 81 or something.
You
Like
talking about
it's
Lauren?
wild. I think so.
Yeah.
So I'm not on TikTok,
Oh, no,
so
she's on Instagram. Lauren, white lady, the trainer videos her. She doesn't have her own Instagram.
okay.
It could be her, but she's 74 or something,
Yeah,
75.
that sounds about right. I was just
Um,
like,
she's doing
dang.
pull-ups. She's doing tire
And
flips.
she's super toned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, her story was that she asked the trainer, "Hey, can you give me some pull-up tips? I want to be able to do a pull-up one day." And he said, "I'll give you free training to achieve that goal if you let me record you and put your journey online." And she was like, "Okay, sure." Because she didn't have social media, so she doesn't even see half of the stuff. And I'm sure she's watched now because he's got millions of views.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Interesting proposition.
I mean, it worked for him. He became famous on the internet now, and she's inspiring everyone, including us.
She
So
is actually, yeah. She actually, it's kind of awesome to show people that age actually, doesn't really have to be a
no,
stop
it's
to
all about
you feeling
keeping
good.
your lifestyle. Like, you got to keep an active lifestyle, and it's the same thing as you age. It's just like time is taken up by different things take up different amounts of time depending on your social life, your culture, your job, whatever. But as long as you keep giving those little moments of the day to some sort of fitness, like, you can maintain it for as long as you want.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to know if there was anything that you wanted to mention during our chat before we wrap up, like anything that you're really proud of, a question for me, I don't know, a fun fact, anything on your mind that we didn't go over that you just want to blurt out. Stroking the non-existent beard.
Hey, hey, hey.
It's a
It's
little bit
it's
there.
lazy, it's lazy fuzz. It's Friday. Wow, wow. With that, wow, you rag on me by the end of this. Amazing. I'm never coming back.
It's okay. Your
Um,
mustache like tramples all over mine. I can't grow that at all if I tried.
yeah, this is the only thing I can grow. Like, just there's like a hole in my beard. Like that's
Right there.
never like it's right there. It just boop. Um, will never. Nope, can't grow a beard. Anyway, no, I think I'm good. It's been really. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about fitness and my relationship through it, and thank you for the help and the assistance. It's really just been very easy and enjoyable to always be supported by your awesome program. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
You
no,
do
thank
great
you for
work.
trusting me with your progress, and it's been really, really enjoyable to watch. And I love your updates, your pull-up updates, and your muscle updates. And it
Yeah, we'll
just,
get back to pull-ups.
yeah,
We'll get back to pull-ups one day.
once
But
your elbow
like,
calms down a
I
bit. But that's great,
yeah.
and yeah, like, it's been really cool talking to you, and yeah, seeing how your mind sort of goes around all of these topics and stuff as well, and all of the little things that you think about, and I think that's awesome. And yes, hopefully we can play in a gym for realsies one day, before I move this summer. It's gonna happen. So thank you everyone for joining us, and yeah, I'll see you on the next episode. Cheers, Nick.